So, good morning and good afternoon. My name is Mu Young-han. I'm a professor at Seoul National University. I just retired yesterday, so I'm now emeritus professor at Seoul National University. I welcome the speakers at the Zoom and all participants at the YouTube. So if you have questions during the session, you're welcome to use chatting. I will summarize it and discuss during the session or later. I'm very happy to organize this workshop on rainwater for drinking. This workshop is co-organized by Dr. Hong Lee, who is the director of the IWA Asia and Oceania Regional Office, and myself as a chairman of IWA Rainwater Harvesting and Management Specialist Group. I'm excited to see the number of registered people, who is more than 300, which means there is a big need and interest for this important topic. This workshop is one of the events during the first International Skywater Festival, which was organized in Korea for last 2 weeks, with the sponsors shown at the back. All the events are recorded and uploaded at this channel. So later you can see several important and interesting presentations about Rain City and Rain Citizen Festival, and including today's presentation. I hope you will join the next International Skywater Festival. So I invited Han Hainen to support this workshop, so he will moderate the second half of this workshop. So let's start the presentation. The first speaker of this workshop is Dr. Hong Lee, co-organizer of this session. She will welcome you and talk about the overall view of water challenges in this region and the role of IWA. Hong, it's your time. So I have your record, so you can just make some short introduction and we will upload the video.
Dear distinguished presenters, dear friends, and all workshop attendees, thank you for joining this IWA Rainwater for Drinking workshop. On behalf of the International Water Association, I would like to welcome all of you. Thanks to the support from the IWA's Rainwater Harvesting and Management Specialist Group, Seoul National University, and the Rainwater Harvesting Alliance, I would like to take this opportunity to give you a very short introduction about the International Water Association.
잘 가고 있어요? 유튜브에 잘.
The International Water Association is a membership association aiming at supplying a platform for water professionals worldwide to connect, to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and leading-edge technologies across sectors, regions, and other diverse water communities. It is by members and for members. IWA has over 70 years history and more than 10,000 members from different countries, regions, and different types of organizations and companies. All these members organize themselves into 50 specialist groups and 2 clusters, covering all areas of water-related technology, research, and management. IWA leads several thematic programs as well. We also have 17 journals, including the most famous journal in the water sector, Water Research Journal. Currently, IWA has offices in London, Nanjing, and Chennai. For individuals, Participating in specialist groups is a very effective way to meet and share with like-minded peers in specific areas or on specific topics. The rainwater harvesting specialist group and management specialist group is one of the 50 IWA specialist groups, which was founded and is now chaired by the Professor Mu-Yang Han from Seoul National University. As you can see, that the SGs organize workshops, events, publishing books, reports, and exchange knowledge and experiences through the community platform and much more. They are the vital way for water professionals to collaborate and learn from each other. And the young ones can join the IWA Young Water Professionals Program, which can enable young people to exchange with the mentors, and also they can get recognized worldwide. Here I show you the IWA Emerging Water Leaders Committee for the 2020 to 2022. And of course, like utilities, companies can also learn and exchange through thematic programs, such as Waterwise Cities, Digital Program, Nature for Water, Climate Smart Utilities, Water Policy and Regulation, Innovators Platform, and so on. And research findings, innovations, and best practices are communicated to broader water professionals through different communications channels and activities in IWA, such as our IWA website, the magazine, publishing house, and events, and more. Of course, in IWA in China, we also have a WeChat account with more than 40,000 followers. For IWA, that we have already proposed a 3R concept for the sustainable water management to reduce the amount of water and energy used, to reuse, which follows fit-for-purpose approach, the integrated water resources management, and to recover energy and recycle useful resources. In the end, we need to replenish the water bodies and the ecosystems. And overall, use a system approach integrated with other urban services. Within this systematic and holistic approach, rainwater harvesting and management is one of the key elements. We all know there are a lot of water challenges we are facing in this region. And I would like to take this opportunity to call for collaborations to work together for improving water services and integrated water management in the region through the International Water Association. Please feel free to contact me for more information, and also thank you for joining this workshop.
Introduction of IWA.
Goodbye.
And I like the word, the everybody happy water management. So that is my trademark. And Hong, I have a question. How many members are in this Asia and Oceania region, IWA members, roughly?
About 2,500, something like that.
Okay.
I need to go back to look at the detailed, the exact number.
So I hope the
But
members.
there are a lot of potentials to grow membership in this region, for sure. And we need to put more efforts especially in Asia and developing countries, in Pacific Islands as well.
So I hope the members in Asia and Oceania region people they can get benefit from the IWA, the networking and knowledge sharing and publication, something like that. So especially in the area of the online, So there's no restriction of travel. So it will be easier for us to connect more better. Okay, thank you very much. We look forward to make more connection with the IWA members. Okay, thank you. So let me invite the second speaker, Han Hainen. He is the president of International Rainwater Harvesting Alliance. He is located in Nepal or some Sri Lanka, something like that. So he has a very good knowledge of rainwater harvesting and international relationships. So let us invite Han Hainen for his presentation. Also, he also has some video, so he can make some short introduction, and we can go to the video. Okay. Han, it's your time.
Hello, excuse me. Couldn't you hear the real voice? Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So you will make some short introduction, and then you.
The introduction is to some extent already on the.
Okay.
Are you going to show the slideshow or the?
Okay.
Or should I speak?
Okay, let's go to the video directly. Okay.
Again, you're not.
Okay.
I cannot hear you.
Okay, let's go on with the video.
Okay, and we will upload your video.
Yes, better. It's easier.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Han Hainen. I'm the president of the International Rainwater Harvesting Alliance in Geneva. This afternoon, I will lead you through a short expose of the aspects related to water quality of collected rainwater and how it could be used as a source of drinking water. I'm very happy that Hong Lee, the regional director of IWA, and Professor Mo Yong Han have been so kind to invite me to give this presentation. Thank you. As we all know, rainwater is in use by many households and communities around the globe. Here you have a few examples from Congo in West Africa and Cambodia in our Asia region. People are in need of that water, of collecting that water, simply because there is no other source nearby, or the sources that are there are not reliable and safe. There are a variety of reasons why people collect rainwater. When there is no pipe water supply system, when they're far away from everything, households and communities they have to collect water and make sure that they have water for their near future. This can happen in semi-arid or arid areas. It can happen on mountaintops or hills, and it is retaining and conserving water for survival, for the household and for agriculture. Sometimes it is necessary to collect rainwater simply because the water that you can get from a tube well is too salty, especially in coastal belts or in smaller islands. The salinity can be so high that you don't even like to make tea. Or sometimes there is a high iron content in the groundwater. In urban areas where water supply systems have lagged, sometimes it provides a better service, both to overcome seasonal water shortages or because maybe there is too much pressure on nearby water points. In rural areas, of course, the distance to the nearest source can also be a good reason to collect your own rainwater so that you have water near the home and that is always available. There's also a reason to substitute dangerous chemicals that sometimes are found in groundwater, like in Bangladesh and many other parts of Asia, we find arsenic in the water. In Sri Lanka, in India, and large parts of the Rift Valley, you may find fluoride. These chemicals are not killing you immediately, but in the long run, they give you serious health problems, and so therefore should be avoided. Rainwater does that. There will be another presentation a little while later why the chronic kidney disease of unknown etiology will also benefit from drinking rainwater. The Joint Monitoring Programme for Water Supply and Sanitation of the World Health Organization and UNICEF has reviewed the water supply options in use in developing countries against their safe supply percentage. And the diagram shows that pipe water supply in 88% of cases is providing a safe supply. But rainwater harvesting is doing very well at 70% of the time. It also indicates that 70% of rainwater harvesting systems have no detectable E. coli. Very good. Rainwater is very much a source of good drinking water. And as you can see here in Hinavaru Island of the Maldives, where some 7-8 years ago I was doing some surveys, I was also taking a glass of water. It was a hot morning, it was humid, and I really needed to drink a glass of water, and these ladies were able to provide me with a cool glass of water. Very, very tasty. Is collected rainwater safe to drink? It will depend on the atmospheric pollution, what type of pollutants are already there in the air due to agricultural practices, because of people using fuel wood, or because of urban traffic air pollution. These contaminants will be raining out and end up as chemicals in your rainwater. It will depend on the cleanliness of the roof. Dirt and dust, bird and animal droppings will always be there to some extent on the roof. But it would help if you can cut the overhanging tree branches to reduce access by birds and animals. Chemical contaminants will also be associated with the roof area. For the roofing, lead fleshings may have been made, zinc, copper might have been used, and maybe even the roof has been painted. All this will cause leaching of some chemicals into the rainwater. Good enough, this chemical load in the stored rainwater will be reduced through biofilms. These biofilms are developing at the interface between the tank wall and the stored water, and will gradually absorb these chemicals, thus reducing the actual chemicals in rainwater. That also leads to the statement that chemical quality generally is within WHO drinking water quality guidelines. In Asia, in many areas, we have asbestos roofs. Asbestos is, of course, a problem for inhalation, asbestos fibers. However, for drinking water, asbestos is not associated with an increased health risk, according to WHO. National standards specify that drinking water has to meet 0 E. coli in 100 milliliter. That standard is often not achieved by rainwater, but it comes quite close in the sense that it has low counts and as such is often better than other rural supplies. An epidemiological comparison between children using tank rainwater and children using public mains in Adelaide showed that there was no increase to the risk of gastroenteritis to the children that were using tank rainwater. Also, Abbott and Cawley in South Australia found that 42% of households drink untreated rainwater, but with limited gastroenteritis risks. Still, of course, there are risks of contamination in these roof catchments because there is dust, there are animals, birds, etc. And so pathogens appear. Cryptosporidium, Campylobacter, Salmonella, Giardia. These are all there. However, their impact on public health is limited because most of the time a household is affected and it is only affecting 5-6 people, not a lot of people. Tank water also improves over time through sedimentation, die-off. For instance, it takes 3 or 4 days for 90% reduction in E. coli and a bit longer for fecal strep and other bacteria. Potentially more problematic are Cryptosporidium and Giardia. So yes, rainwater is safe to drink, but you better make sure that your rainwater harvesting systems are clean from collection to storage, because you don't want to expose yourself to additional risks. If possible, treat rainwater after boiling so that you can make a cup of tea out of it or make some soup, or if you just want to drink water, then you can allow it to cool. There are several household water treatment methods that have been in use, and you see some here in the picture, various filters, biosand filter or a ceramic filter. Chlorine can be added to the water, solar disinfection, or as I said, you can boil it. In addition, there are several other household water treatment systems that are being marketed by larger companies in the local market. They are not all that cheap, but they're not so expensive either. So it could be a very good solution to have a rainwater harvesting system, and then that little bit of water that you need for your direct consumption, you can treat it in the kitchen and use it for your family. I've indicated the sources of information, and especially COST in Canada has some very useful information, also visuals which you can use in promoting the cause of rainwater. This picture shows the components of a normal rainwater harvesting system. Roof catchment area, a gutter that collects the rain, and you need to keep it free from leaves, a first flush, a simple filter before the water flows into the tank, and an overflow. In the next slide I'm discussing the first flush. I have taken another picture from the first flush that is taken from a sanitary inspection format that is currently being prepared by WHO, and you can see here that there is a filter box where the water from the gutter is entering, and then initially the water is flowing into the first flush sump, and you see a small ball there. That ball is being pushed up until, of course, it is at the top of the pipe and closes it off completely, and by that time the water will flow into the main tank. It helps to reduce the dirt that otherwise would enter the tank and would gradually, if that would be the case, then it would gradually lead to contamination of the water in the tank. In the tank itself, it's also good to keep the collected water clean, and one can do that by making sure that the downpipe into the tank doesn't splash too much. And you can see here on the left hand side that they have used a break ring, a small concreted ring that allows the water to become quiet and not stir up all the dust and the dirt that is already, the silt that is already there at the bottom. Similarly, of course, when you collect water and use it, then of course the cleanest water will be in the tank at the top. So one way of taking the cleanest water is using a small bowl and connect it to the pipe, and then let it float such that this bowl float will will always collect the water from the highest point in the reservoir. Isla Urbana, a social enterprise working on the promotion of rainwater in Mexico City, has put together all these various water quality aspects that were discussed in the last few slides, and you see them here in this particular slide. It speaks for itself, so I'm not going to discuss it any further, but you may be able to review after this presentation. Rainwater harvesting contributes to achieving SDG 6, safe water at home, as you can see from these few pictures from around the world. Women in particular are enjoying the benefits. With respect to guidance on how to set up a rainwater harvesting system or how to run a rainwater harvesting program, there is quite a bit of information available around the world in all countries, and many of them also have local guidelines. I mean, in the Pacific Islands, SOPAC quite a number of years ago already produced a very useful booklet, Harvesting the Heavens. And similarly, in Hawaii, rainwater catchment systems, or for that matter in Australia, where there are also guidelines on rainwater tanks and how to collect and store the rainwater safely. There's a free document that you can download from IRC website on roof water harvesting, which is a very useful handbook for practitioners. It provides all the information that you need in order to come up with a good system. Thank you for your attention.
When I look at the YouTube, now 81% is watching this YouTube. I'm sorry that. Yeah.
Next stage.
Okay, sorry. So I'm sorry for some mistake in the technical thing. And okay, thank you for Heinen. So I saw from the YouTube, I see about 81% is watching this YouTube. So there was 315 people registered, but because of technical problem, we have this problem. So we are trying to fix this one. Okay, so the presenters who are in the Zoom or the people who are in the YouTube, you can ask some questions in chatting. So then I can select some and I give a question to the presenter. Okay, our third speaker will be Professor Pierdan Nguyen. He's my very long-term the friend, maybe 15 years more, and we have a very good close relationship with using rainwater harvesting. I learned a lot from him and from demonstration project in Vietnam. So he will talk very nice ideas about rainwater harvesting. And his topic is rainwater for drinking, a resilient solution to improve water solution to situation for the vulnerable communities. So I have your presentation. So is it okay that I upload the video file? Yes.
Yes, Dr. Rain, you can upload.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to share some information about our rainwater harvesting projects in Vietnam, where we provided rainwater supply for harvesting projects in Vietnam, where we provided rainwater supply for people in different areas, including rainwater for domestic use and also for drinking purposes. I will talk about some challenges we have in water supply, alternatives, water source, rainwater, treatment of rainwater to meet drinkable water quality, some needs in order to maintain the system sustainably, discussions and recommendations. We all know that in our countries nowadays, we are facing problems of water scarcity and water pollution. Surface and groundwater can be polluted with different harmful substances. Why people, not everybody can afford to buy expensive bottled water. It's not easy to remove pollutants from polluted water, surface and ground. And sometimes we have centralized water systems, but they are not functioning well, especially in rural areas. Many systems are poorly constructed and operated, maintained, so that people do not have access to the adequate water. Meanwhile, we have very good water source which has been used for water supply for many centuries by our ancestors. So now we need to continue this tradition, improve them, and let people know how to do. That is rainwater harvesting. In rainwater harvesting, there are also some challenges. For example, the rainfall is not evenly distributed over the seasons, the months. In dry season, we are facing the water shortage. Most of villages are not affordable to buy expensive rainwater treatment system and storage facilities. In some areas, we have air pollution problem, and information is lacking, especially for rainwater treatment technologies and how to monitor the rainwater quality, etc. This slide shows the example of the systems we used in order to have the adequate drinking water quality from the rainwater system. We use the clean catchment, the roof area. We have the first flush diverter, and we have the multiple settling tanks in series. After the effluent from the final sedimentation tank, water is sent to the filtration cartridge, and after that is disinfected with the UV lamp before it's sent to the faucet for drinking. These photos show the rainwater systems we have installed in kindergartens, primary and secondary schools in different provinces in Vietnam. The systems are installed in the places where people have crucial need. With crucial need, people will be interested in your system and agreed to take part in the maintaining, properly operating the system. The kids are enjoying the rainwater system, and they are using in their classrooms for drinking. We came also to the temple and installed rainwater system. This is a system installed in the district healthcare facility in one province in the south of Hanoi. And WHO also is aware of the project and came, and now they use the model of rainwater harvesting as we developed to disseminate in other healthcare facilities in the country. The drinkable water is sent to the different multi-floors building and used for the patients. This slide shows some photos of our equipment used for rainwater treatment and monitoring. We use multiple filtration cartridge and UV lamp for disinfection, and we use this automatic alarming system. When the green light is on, it shows the UV lamp is working properly and water is safe to drink. When the red light is on, people know something happened with the UV lamp, and they have to boil water before drinking. The signals are sent via SMS, and or internet, so that we could know the real-time condition of the system. These are monitoring results from our rainwater projects. We record rainfall data, water consumption data, and water quality parameters analyzed by a sensor, transferred via internet, or manually test kits. The local people, after training, they can record the data daily and weekly and share with us via a chat application. And the webcam shows us water meter and water level information real time. Every 2 months we have data monitored by the third-party laboratory and comparing with the standard of drinking water quality. Together with local community leaders, we selected the poor families who really need the water supply, and then together with students we came and helped to install the rainwater harvesting systems. This demonstration system, so that neighborhoods could follow. Besides the rainwater engineering system, we have to bring to the people the information of behavior change, understanding the needs of the water and cleaning, hygienic sanitation, and adequate hygienic behavior. Through schools, good information could be transferred to the families and then neighborhood. And the main players we are working with are teachers and students. Students are enjoying having fun with the rainwater competition, parties, festival, or organized by the teachers at the schools. Temple is an important place in communities in Vietnam. People often go there and carry out religious practices. Kids are going to the temple for summer school. So we select this temple because it's located in the remote area, far from the community, and there is no tap water coming in. After discussion with the monks, we installed the rainwater harvesting system here, and the system is really functioning well. Together with the monks and the kids, the system is well maintained over a few years until now, and we could provide good drinking water for the kids who are going at 500-700 people a day in the summer school activities. Health station is also a good place for demonstration projects. Patients need a lot of clean water. Instead of buying boiled water from somewhere, now in this hospital they use our drinkable rainwater. And through patients, the families know about the system, and neighborhoods could follow. Rainwater for drinking at the university campus is also a good place to show students what we can do with the rainwater, and they can disseminate later. We have installed the rainwater treatment with the ozonation, cooling down, and then sent to the faucets, and students are enjoying. You see the photos from our webcam. In the hot summer days after sport activities, 3,000, 5,000 students use rainwater for drinking. This good thing could bring spirit to the students, and they will have future better solutions. Finally, I would like to say we need good demonstration projects to multiply this model to the communities. And to maintain the system, we need the participation of the local leaders and the people. Besides water supply, we have to share with them the good information of adequate sanitation and, very important, hygiene behavior. We need to provide a good training, and with that, together with the right technology, people would put hands and maintain the system properly and keep them sustainable. IT technology helps a lot. We could have real-time data with the minimum resources. And I would like to use this chance to express our thanks to the donors, the KOICA and Ministry of Science and ICT, University of Civil Engineering, Hanoi, and National University, Seoul, Korea, our Wasat Center in our institute, our team members, especially Professor Mu Han, my close colleague and friend who paid a lot of effort in rainwater harvesting activities in Vietnam, in other countries, and also for this.
Thank you very much, Professor Piedan. And I saw some familiar photos with me during last 10 or 15 years demonstration project. So you talk about the rainwater, not only technology, but also you talk about the social aspect of the rainwater. So like teaching, the sending the knowledge and discuss with the student and citizen. So that I call rain citizen and rain student. I think that is the most important one. So, okay, I will gather the questions for four speakers before I hand over to the next moderator, Han Hainen. So after I listen to the Tanuja, I will ask some questions to the four presenters. Okay, so let me introduce Tanuja Ariyananda. She has been the president of Lanka Rainwater Harvesting Forum. I met her about 15 or 17 years ago, and since then I learned from her very much. And here we see how Sri Lanka is doing the rainwater harvesting projects. Tanuja, the stage is yours. So can we upload the file from here or there? Okay, Tanuja, yeah. 왜 소리 안 나와요? 내가 소리 못 듣네.
얘기하고 있어. 좀 켜. 우리 나오.
For Sri Lanka. Like many of the South Asian
계속 이러고 있으면 돼요.
countries as well, we have been practicing this for many centuries. If you see dry zone areas is dotted with agriculture tanks or agriculture and domestic tanks, which is still in operation now, most of them, some of them at least. And then we have, if you've been to Sri Lanka and climbed the
저기 현서 씨,
rock, you will see these open air
현서, 저 2시 42분에 유튜브
because the cause is still not identified. Usually, kidney disease is due to person having high pressure or diabetes or some other ailment, but this instance, the cause is not yet known. There are so many theories, but still not been identified. Some people say it's due to pesticide, overuse of pesticides, different theories. I won't go into it. I'll just give you a small description about this issue. So it affects about 150,000 people, and about 20,000 people is already had died from it, sadly. And it usually affects farmers of age 30 to 60 years, both males and females. And it is known to affect people who use groundwater for drinking, and people who has treated water has low or no incidence of CKDU reported. So this is the background for the CKDU. I'm just going to play a small video.
이게 저거라서 그런가 보다.
Yeah, so these are the affected areas in Sri Lanka. These are the affected districts. The central, North Central Province, North Western Province, and also now reported in the IWA Province, that is in the south eastern side. So since emerging of it, many organizations install rainwater harvesting systems in these different districts. So this is a map which shows where the rainwater harvesting systems are implemented, and this is where this map shows where there is a high number of patients reported. So you can see it is covered. Many other tanks, rainwater systems are installed in those areas. Similarly, in Polonnaru district, this is where the rainwater systems are, and this is where the high number of patients have been reported. In Kurunagara district, similarly, and in Vavuniya district, where we have been involved in installing rainwater harvesting system to the newly settling people after the 30-year war civil war in Sri Lanka, where we were initially targeting the drought-prone areas, but later when we were working in Vavuniya, we found that Vavuniya also have high incidence of kidney affected people. So we were targeting those areas, the yellow bordered areas, where we install rainwater harvesting system for domestic households, as well as schools, as well as hospitals. And similarly, more recently, we are working in IWA province, that is the south eastern side. In the two districts we are working in, we have also identified areas where there is high incidence of kidney problem people, and we are installing household rainwater harvest systems, as well as rainwater systems in schools and hospitals. So looking at those districts where there is high incidence of kidney problem people, and the number of tanks that are in those districts, and also the rainfall, annual rainfall in those districts, it has been calculated how much water we can expect from a small roof about 50 square meters with a storage tank about 8,000 liters. What is the minimum daily amount you can expect from that system for a day? And as you can see, depending on the rainfall pattern and the distribution, you can at least in those districts at least have 80 to 75 liters per day per household. That means at least the drinking water needs of a 4 people household can be met by collecting rainwater. Then when we did a survey on these households which has rainwater harvesting, especially in those districts where the kidney issues are there, you can see that these districts where kidney patients are more high numbers, you can see that they are using the rainwater either throughout the year or with only the rainy season in large numbers, sometimes more than 50%, totally more than 50% in some districts. So they are using the tank for drinking purposes. If you ask them what is the reason why they are using the tank, the main thing they say is because they have no alternative water source available, or second best most reason is because the quality of the water that is in the alternative water sources they think is poor, or the alternative water sources are drying up during the dry period. So those are the 3 main reasons that they are using the rain. When you ask them how many of you are drinking rainwater, you can see that more than 58% people are drinking this rainwater throughout the year, and about 18 only during the dry period, about 5-6% during the dry period. So most of these people are using the rainwater for the drinking purposes. If you go look at it in a separate district wise, it then shows, except for a couple of districts, Vavuniya, they are using during the both dry season as well as during the wet season for drinking. Most of them are using for drinking purposes. If you look at the quality and whether the quality conform with the Sri Lankan water quality standard, which is very similar to the WHO standards, that color, most of them conform in all the districts. Turbidity same. Easy. This is the basic water quality, drinking water quality we are looking at. Electrical conductivity is the same. pH in some districts it is little low, because actually it's not because of the low pH count, because of the more alkaline, because of the cement nature of these tanks. Then E. coli levels also about 40% are zero E. coli and about 25% to 30% with low level of E. coli, low risk according to the WHO standards. These systems are fitted with a simple filter which consists of charcoal and some pebbles and a mesh. So you can see if system with a filter, as there's a reduction in E. coli level as opposed to filters without tanks without filters. This is the tank. You saw Han also showed this. We have the first flush system. We have a small filter lid, and also we draw the water out not from the bottom of the tanks to increase the water quality. We have also introduced this simple method for the households. This is developed by UNICEF as well as the water board. 2 simple household check to see whether water quality is good or not, and if there's an issue, where the issue could be by answering these questions. We are also introducing operation and maintenance systems, simply to make sure the roof is clean, use the first flush, clean the filter often, and clean the tank often. So these are also introduced to the households. Then to improve the water quality, good operation and awareness is needed, where it is the operation is good. The quality of the water that is collected is also good. Use of first flush and a filter, you saw that it makes a big difference to the quality of water, especially on the bacterial quality. Lid and is also important to prevent insects getting in, and also sunlight causing algae formation. And as Han also mentioned, simple treat boiling the drinking water or simple water treatment is also encouraged in this household. So people's perception is high percentage of people with CKDU. We found 52% actually drink from the rainwater as opposed to people who doesn't have CKDU. High percentage of people think rainwater is the best quality water or good after some sort of purification. Most think rainwater is a good quality water source, but they don't know about the quality of the water, so there should be some method of to be introduced that people can check for themselves whether its quality is good. And some people, CKD patient has reported that they have their conditions of the disease have improved or had stayed stable after drinking rainwater. But of course, this has to be clinically proven. It's not yet done. Okay, thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tanuja. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so I have some question about the first four speakers. First, I asked Hong how many members. She said members in Asia and the Oceania region. She said 3,115 members in the Asia and Pacific region. There is more than 1/3 of the total IWA members. So we are big group. And another question is to Han Heinen. I already gave the question to Han Heinen. So Han Heinen can answer the question. Could you please? And you can raise the question and you can answer, right?
Professor Han, I've already responded to a question on the Australia coverage for drinking, which is reported by the National Bureau of Statistics in 2010 to be around 9.9% of households actually drinking rainwater. And an additional 25% of households are using rainwater as an additional source to their water supply. So it's quite substantial.
Okay. So
okay, Muyong, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Can't hear you.
So I will copy your answer to the YouTube so that the people who gave a question can see the result. And also there is another question to anybody, but Dr. Professor Piedan say he can answer the question. What is the question? Let me see.
I think you're referring to the question whether the government or any authority has a policy to encourage people to use rainwater.
Thank you very much. There is a question and the answer will be Professor Piedan.
Thank you.
I have indicated as a response in the chat, but I'm not sure how far that reaches, that WHO is currently updating sanitary inspection formats. And in my presentation, the URL reference to the WHO website is given, where I discuss the first flush. So people can find a lot of visual information there, as well as simple guidelines, and they can be used to update the public health regulation in the country.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Professor Pierre.
I could add something. This is actually a very good question because many people are asking whether rainwater is just a voluntary work by the households or government officially recognize it. For Vietnam, for the period 2000-2020, rainwater was acknowledged as an official alternative water source for rural water supply, especially for the vulnerable, the challenging area where groundwater and surface water have difficulty to provide. In the new strategy for the rural water supply for the period to 2030 and the vision to 2045, which is under drafting, rainwater source is among sources too. But important, as you asked, is monitoring. This is under overall water safety plan, which in Vietnam needs further efforts. WSP, water safety plan, is now compulsory for centralized water systems. But for the households, so far we can provide only awareness and information to the people. The healthcare agencies cannot come to the household and check the water quality. Vice versa, household can send the water sample to the laboratories. Now we are working on the rainwater harvesting manual and proposing to the government agencies. And WSP is included like a compulsory component. I think many other countries are doing similar. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope I have answered. Yeah.
So I think time is running out. So I will hand over the moderation to Dr. Han Hainen for the 4 speakers. Please.
Thank you very much, Professor Han. And thank you all for your comments and presentation so far. It has been quite interesting and also complementary. I can see that, lots of aspects are being presented in different ways, and of course that enhances our understanding of the issues. I would like to introduce Ramdeep Shah from Nepal. Ramdeep is a good friend of mine who has been working in Nepal, obviously, in various capacities within the water supply and sanitation projects of the Department of Water Supply and Sewerage. He has been, and I thought that was a very important job, project manager of the second small town water supply and sanitation sector project, really a project that made a lot of innovative changes and solutions to how people can take care of their water supply. And he was the Director General of that department as well for a number of years. Together with some other friends, retired friends from the sector in Nepal, they have now started a small NGO, which is called Smart Wash Solutions, in which they're trying to promote and advocate good practice within water supply and sanitation and advising the government at the same time. A very good effort. And Ramdeep is the managing director of that Smart Wash Solution NGO. Sorry, president, I think. No? Anyway, sorry. Ramdeep, you're on.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman of the session, Mr. Han, Professor Moyang, IWA representative, Dr. Lim, and all the respected speakers. My presentation is the use of rainwater in urban and rural Nepal, and the content is basically background, policy, and initiation in rural urban Nepal, some issues, and way forward. Now if we see this, this is the physiographic division of Nepal. Lower part is, the yellow part is Tarai, is the plain region. Upper part is the mountains. So basically rainwater has been practiced mostly in the upper hills and the Shivalik region. So like this has been practiced since ancient time, basically in this upper hills, Bhavar zone and scattered settlement. And systematic this rainwater, rooftop rainwater harvesting started in Gulmi district in 1996. And since 1996, more than 11,000 household rainwater harvesting has been already built in mountainous area, especially for the drinking water purpose, which has made significant changes in the livelihood and in the users. Now even in Kathmandu, even urban area like Kathmandu Valley and some other municipalities are also practicing rainwater, because in Kathmandu Valley there is a scarce city of water supply. So the rooftop rainwater harvesting has been practiced, and even from the groundwater research and other different uses. So these are some of the benefits, multiple benefits like drinking water, irrigation, disaster risk reduction, groundwater recharge, and it promotes the traditional knowledge. So if we see the annual precipitation is the ranges between 300 minimum to 3,300 millimeter, and average rainfall is around 1,500 millimeter annual average. While coming to the policy, like this, now this Nepal is in federal state. There are three levels of government: federal, provincial, and local government. So in most of the policies, this rainwater promotion has been incorporated. Recently, there is one draft act on water supply and sanitation, which recognized that rainwater is one of the water source, which was not earlier. Similarly, in the irrigation master plan, national water resource policy, all these plan and policy promotes this rainwater harvesting for collection and different uses. And some guidelines have been also prepared by the Department of Water Supplies, Sewerage, and Department of Urban Development and Building Construction. And those guidelines, especially DUBC guideline, has made mandatory for the provision in the government building and community building and other buildings in type A and type B category of building, where this rainwater harvesting is mandatory. Similarly, this DWSS guideline provision for these standards and design and construction for the systems. And others, municipalities now, they have also started some tax exemption for the rainwater, promotion of rainwater harvesting system. So in the rural Nepal, basically it is for the drinking water purpose, for recreation, aquaculture, irrigation, and wild animals and birds, which reduce wild animals and human conflict. And in like schools also, like more than 300 schools, they have installed this rainwater harvesting system. It has now even in one of the research is shown that rainwater harvesting increase annual household income from the agriculture and livestock sector by 130%. Now, in there is one in hilly area, Dialex district, and in total there are 1,400 rainwater harvesting system. So in two VDC, two municipality, there are around 600 rainwater selection. Out of that, 105 households were selected for the study, just to see the outcome what are the impact of this rainwater harvesting system in those areas. And in that area, the average rainfall is around 1656 millimeter. 82% of precipitation during June and September months. So the technology they have adopted is a ferrocement jar, and roofing is CGI sheet with SDB pipe gutters, and mostly the storage capacity is 6,500 liters, and there is one storage pond of 3,000 liters. The flush system is a manual with in delivery pipe. And in fact, it was shown that after this study in 2 VDCs, that 94% of the household in the study area reported that the rainwater is used for the drinking purpose. 70% of the system were observed in need of minor repair, and on average, that people about 50% of their water demand from rainwater system are fulfilled. And then there are some additional social, economic, and health benefits that is already presented here. Even in the school attendance has increased, reduced waterborne diseases, and then 87% increased women participation in social events. So these are some of the impacts shown in the rural area in Dalek district. Now we do have some like a different kind of ponds in the even in the Tarai and hilly region, which are constructed for the storage of water during the rainy season and to be used in the dry season for different purpose. Now we have also started this impounding reservoir to store the during the monsoon, and then use that surplus water during the dry season, and also is to be used for this recreation and aquaculture purposes, mostly in the Tarai region. Now there is another study, it is rainwater harvesting impact. This in Bardivas district, there is it's quite a water scarce area, and it has after these interventions of different kind of ponds, this so like there is a lot of advantage. One is that there is a control of flood and landslides, agriculture farmings in upland, and then discharge of groundwater, and even waterfall the wild animals and wild animal conflict. So there was no water during the, in that most of the forest. So after this having this pond construction, now that wild animal conflict is also reduced and disaster is reduced. Even in the forest, that it sets fire sometimes. So even that has been reduced, so disaster is reduced. You can see some of the changes in the production of like vegetables. So it has increased in the economy too. So these are some of the advantages. And it was shown that there is one water supply project. So at least the yield has also increased around from 26 LPS to 38 LPS. 12 LPS yield has increased there. So in urban area like rooftop house also used for the rainwater harvesting system, mostly in Kathmandu Valley, because there is a water scarcity, huge water scarcity in Kathmandu Valley. Even the Melamchi project is still after the interrupted due to some landslide and flood problem at the source. So it is used in urban area like for the groundwater, rooftop house, and then for the green infrastructure for urban sustainability, which reduce pressure on the stormwater drainage and the wastewater treatment plants. And then in the valley, in the Bhagpur, this rain efficient city initiation has been started. Similarly, now in Kathmandu, Recharge Kathmandu program is initiated and started since last years. So in other municipality also now the promotion of rainwater harvesting in different municipality has been initiated. Now in the valley we can see that total 2041 rainwater harvesting system. Rain garden trenches, 4 number of ponds, 9 number of recharge well, and then 5 recharging system, 3 already constructed last. Now this household level rainwater, actually rainwater from the runoff from the roof is stored in a tank and which is can be used inside the building for different purpose. Storm water from the street and parks can be infiltrated or stored in the ponds to provide water for the different uses. Storm water from the street and parks can be infiltrated or stored in pollution city. This household roof for household. So in different most of the roof water scarce area, rooftop technology has been adopted. Now, actually, we have some problem for the quality aspects in rural area, but now in the urban area, in this rooftop rainwater harvesting system, there is a pre-filter and now another fire sand filter after the tank. And one is that when the rain is collected, so it is just initially rain is washed. So different, like with the treatment facilities and rainwater harvesting adopted in the urban areas now have a good quality of this rainwater quality to be used for the drinking water purposes. Similarly, for the artificial recharge, we have recharge, subsurface recharge and the direct surface recharge. So that has been also practices in most of the urban areas. You can see the groundwater recharge through the well in the Kathmandu Valley. This is the recharge pit, and this is the tube well. Groundwater recharge initiative in the Gangbu area after the start of this Kathmandu recharge program. They have also initiated in program in the Gangbu district to recharge through the well. Now in recharge Kathmandu we have four. One is the data generation, that they are mapping where is the water scarce area, where the recharge can be promoted, and then the estimation of those things, that is data generation. Then the publication, they are preparing and some training manual for school institutions, and adding groundwater rainwater policies, bylaws at the municipal level, some development of standards. So this comes under publication. Then some research and development is also going on for betterment. And then the major activity is that maintenance and rehabilitation of ponds and stone taps. There are a lot of stone taps and ponds in Kathmandu Valley. So most of them are dried off. So now the major activity is how to revive those stone spouts and ponds with the additional recharge pits, and to make some of the ponds in the public open spaces. So these are the major activities initiated in Kathmandu. And then some other program, awareness program through the IEC materials and training activities. Expected outcome from this is that that how water quality can be improved and how to revive those old ponds and dried up wells and increase the groundwater level in Kathmandu. Now, similarly, in the Bhagpur municipality is that how to make this rain efficient city. They have made a plan, and there are 220 public wells, 35 ponds. Now, some of the tube wells are already dried, so they want to recharge the aquifer and make some reservoir to direct the excess water in the ponds and wells through the screening and post filtration. now even in the municipality building they have started this rainwater. These are the 3 tanks already constructed for this rainwater promotions, and that water, stored water, can be used for the public toilet, sanitary, as well as for the drinking water after treatment. And so they have made a plan how to initiate at the house level, ward level, and at the community level. So different programs has been initiated to make this Bhagpur city as a rain efficient city. Now, some of the issues that we face, that is lack of mobilization to campaign to build awareness on the opportunity of rainwater harvesting, and there is a kind of distrust toward the rainwater quality aspect. Even in some of the system already installed in rural area, they don't have the treatment facility. So there are some problem issues of microbial contamination. So these issues to be addressed. Then the lack of local capacity to install, repair, and maintenance need to be built and trained. Most of the systems here are in the valley area, we do have some capacity, but the rural area in other municipality, there is a lack of these things. Then the private sector participation of private sector will be increased. Lack of financing modality and incentives mechanism to promote this rainwater harvesting, and lack of ownership from the local government. Now they have started, but still there is a lot to be needed, and lack of dissemination of policy documents and guidelines at grassroots level. Some of the way forward is that public-private partnership and new financial modality with incentives provisions should be promoted. Water quality monitoring with water safety plan need to be adopted and to ensure the quality. We have seen in this presentation today also, there are a lot of system for the water quality improvement that has to be implemented here. Ownership from the local government should be taken from ensuring building bylaws and guidelines. Scientific research and evaluation of rainwater harvesting for research and development, and promote rainwater harvesting as a socially correct practice now that water is becoming scarce, everywhere it becomes scarce. Now we have to reduce unwanted runoff. So provide a debate to households that retrofit rainwater harvesting system in their home. So these are some of the suggestions for the future. Thank you for your kind attention and my presentation.
Thank you very much, Ramdeep. Very nice presentation covering so many important aspects for the 2 areas, rural and urban. I would now like to introduce Professor Kongkepan from Cambodia. He's the Dean of Faculty of Science and Technology in the International University in Phnom Penh. And his research interests are on environmental change and health risk assessment, developing also exposure biomarkers. So that is going even a few steps further than what we have discussed so far this afternoon. He has also investigated climate change impacts on water quality and health. Of course, that is becoming increasingly important. He's sharing his capacity in different ways on water quality and health, as well as the editor of the Environmental Geochemistry and Health publication. Professor Van, can you take the floor, please?
Hey, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honors and to join this international workshop. Before I start, I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving me this great opportunity. So I think I have listened to many interesting presentations regarding to rainwater harvesting. as Highlands, the chair of the session, mentioned that I have a background more on is not
These are all there.
in
However,
average temperature around 25 to 27 or up to 30.
only affecting 5-6
So,
people, not
with the prediction of the climate change that the
tank water
temperature would
also improves over
increase
time through
by
sedimentation,
0.8
die off. For
degrees
instance,
Celsius
it
in
takes 3 or 4
1960.
days for 90%
So it
reduction in E.
means
coli
in
and
average
for fecal strep
around
and other bacteria.
0.18 degrees Celsius per decade. So the prediction of temperatures in Cambodia by 2019, it will be increased from 0.0813 to 0.036. That is by 2099. So in Cambodia we have we have received huge rainfall in the southwest, in the coastal area, and also in the northeast plateaus, the northeast highland. But it's relatively low in the southwest. In the southeast and in the central of Cambodia. Although the population, many population live alongside the watershed, but shallow groundwater is the main source for drinking in rural Cambodia. Of course, in past practice that we cannot have access to groundwater, we collected many rainwater at household level. Yeah. Even at my age, when I was young, at my home we have many jars to collect rainwater, and we prefer to use rainwater for drinking. But in early 1990, because of the easy access to groundwater, so people turn to use groundwater rather than to collect rainwater. So these recent statistics that approximately 73% of households have access to clean water. This means the government is committed to provide safe water to all people in Cambodia 100% by 2025. So if you look at this data, we have a few more space to fill out. Yeah. And of course, in urban area, it's around 44%, but in a rural area, it's about 66% who can access safe drinking water clean drinking water. So this what we need to do to fulfill our goal that to provide safe and clean drinking water to rural all population. So as I mentioned that we are in the Southeast Asia, and as a few speakers mentioned that, for example, in Vietnam, in many other places, that we have a problem with many contaminants in groundwaters and also surface water like arsenic and other heavy metal, pesticides. So of course we need appropriate treatment, water treatment technology to address this public health concern. So now let me introduce one technology that is developed by my former advisor, Professor Kim Chong-Ong, and Professor Jun Ho Lee, and a few colleagues of them. The concept is about the gravity-driven membrane we call GDM. So this simple membrane that is based on the hydrostatic pressure that allow the water pass through the membrane and produce clean water. So if you can see in the bottom pictures, is the diagram of the filtration. So the molecule of the contaminant or pathogen can be filtered out based on their size. So the membrane should be in micro scale or nano scale, depending on your purpose. So this is what we have used in Cambodia so far. This membrane is made from PVDF. The pore size is around 0.2 micrometers pore size. It can be filter out virus. So not only micro. And this system is very compact and easy to operate. As I mentioned, there is no driving force to, external energy to allow the water flow pass through the membrane. So we can just install it and water can pass through using hydrostatic pressure. Then it's very long life. It can be used up for 10 years. And also for the maintenance, it's very little and very effective, as I mentioned, that can be filter out the bacteria, protozoa, and also virus, depend on their pore size and the size of the pathogen. And current GDM module can produce 15 to 40 liters per hour. That is for household. I think the number of people in household is around 6 or 7 in Cambodia. It can be used from this unit. So we also have we call community scale that we try to install in a school, in a rural school, because school children, they really need safe and drinking waters during their school time, especially in dry season. So with the project from GIS, through the KUNDP projects, we have support to install 3 units in school in Cambodia. So this is one of the examples that we just collect the water from the rooftop of the school building and store in the water tank. And we install the GDM system to treat the rainwaters because in rural Cambodia it's very dusty. The rooftop is not clean, so we need to consider we cannot drink directly rainwaters, and also we have a lot of birds and many debris on the rooftop. Yeah. So this is the simple GDM module that we just superpose all the membrane together, and we connect one to another to have the high flow rate. Yeah, we supply in the school. For example, in the school we have around 300 school children. Then in average they drink around 2 liters per day. So we need about 600 liters per day for them. So based on that calculation, we install the system. Yeah. So this after we install, and we can see inside the first installation in the left hand side, and after operation sometime then we can check is a lot of sedimentation in the tank. Yeah. So as I mentioned that we have a lot of debris, and we have a lot of dust on the rooftop. Even we flush out, we have the first flush. Yeah. So this is the second one, that is a big tank with more school children, and we install it like this. We have the rainwater collecting system from the rooftop and store in the tank. This 2 tank is one per about 5,000 liters. Yeah, 5,000 liters. So we have like 10,000 liters for the school children. It can be used for the whole period of the rainy season. Yeah. So after we install the system, we hand over to the governors and also the school principal. So the picture in the left, top left, is our team. Then we hand over this system to the governor. Yeah. So this based on, as I mentioned, based on the number of the school children, we customize our installation. So the guy in the middle is the school principal. So after we install the system, we also hand over the system to him. Yeah. So the GDM, because we are thinking about rainwater fall, rain amount in each season. So we also have the backup system that can be fit by tap waters. Tap water here is just water from the river, and very simple treatment, just pass through sand filter, sometimes no filtration, and then just connect to the pipe and distribute it in the village. It's not clean and safe for use again. So the GDM can be used for rainwater, and also we have the backup for the tap water during the very dry season in March, April, and May. We can fit GDM sometimes with tap waters. So just this household one that we provide it to a household in rural area in Cambodia, and so I went to monitor over there. So after we use a few years, this system is still very functional and look very clean inside because they feed with duck well or rainwater. So this system can be used with different water source. So here you can drink from the filter, using rainwater or duck well or any tap water that are available. So in Cambodia, we have water quality standard. So in total, we have 52 parameters that need to be monitored. But in our labs, we don't have equipment to measure mercury and selenium. So we monitor other parameters, and also with some pesticide and organic pollutant that we included in the standard. And recently, our lab, we can do this kind of analysis. Yeah. So here is the activity for water quality monitoring. So we go to the system and we collect water for every month for 3 months after installation before we allow the school children or the community to use it. So we monitor a few months, and then after we make sure the system is very clean, produce safe water, then we can hand over to the community or school for the use. As I mentioned that we not only do the monitoring of chemical, but we also this membrane very effective with microbial. So we also test both chemical contaminant and microbial contaminant. So in our lab also we can do this kind of testing. So now let's move to some result that we why we decide to do to install the system at a rural school. This data from for rainfall, yes, annual rainfall. This 2014, 2015, we have the most. So I just show a few examples here. So as you can see, like in January, in February, in March, is almost no rain. Yeah. So we are considering about this 3 months that we need to extra storage of waters. So in the other month, I think the system can continuously feed by rainfall. Yeah. So here is the data for rainwater quality. So we monitor many parameters, but those parameters are very low in their concentration. So it means that drinking rainwater is safe for drinking water source. And also we safe drinking water source in terms of chemical contaminant, and also we monitor the biological contaminant. Yes. So in Cambodia, in the standard we only monitor E. coli and total coliform, and also we try to do also Salmonella in our lab. Yeah. But the result not included, but can reduce those bacteria also. So as you can see, the after treatment, before treatment, water is highly contaminated with microbial contaminant, but after treatment, it's very clean, and water can be safely used in school and community. So in summary, rainwater in rural Cambodia is relatively safer from chemical contaminant than other sources. If comparing to groundwaters, in some area we have arsenic contamination, manganese contamination, barium contamination also. GDM system that we use are very effective for microbial removal from rainwater source. And from this study, can be suggested that the application of gravity-driven membrane fed by rainwater can reuse safe drinking water for rural schools in Cambodia. And we are interested in apply the GDM for rural community water supply, and this should be further investigated. So thank you for your kind attention, and thank you again for giving me this great opportunity to share my work.
Thank you very much, Professor Konkepan, for your very interesting presentation on gravity-driven membrane filtration. Still some work to go, but at least the results of the Cabal Co secondary school show good promise. So it will be interesting to see how that further develops. Thank you. I would like to request Dr. Angela Shin to give the next presentation. Dr. Angela is the Secretary General of a New Zealand-based NGO called Summit 237 New Zealand Core, and she is working, and that organization is working to identify and help people in vulnerable people in the South Pacific through education, welfare, and culture. She is a doctor in chiropractic and musculoskeletal medicine, and has been working with the government of Vanuatu in various ways. But more recently, I noted that she has also been a special assistant to the government with respect to innovative technology and policy to solve SDG 6 issues in South Pacific countries. So that probably links quite nicely with the presentation that you're going to give. Dr. Shin, please, your...
Yes, thank you very much, President Dr. Han Hainan and Professor Han. It's been very useful time to learn how this rainwater drinking system is being used in different regions and countries. So let me introduce myself. My name is Angela Shin from Summit 237. And today I am going to make a presentation about the experience with rainwater for drinking system in the South Pacific Islands. Before I start, I just want to briefly mention that the same problems that Hanuja mentioned earlier in her presentation are happening in the South Pacific. Even though South Pacific area, especially in Vanuatu, rains quite frequently, there is a lack of water due to geographical features or volcanic lipids that allow water to seep directly into the ground or into the sea. And Vanuatu is an island made up of volcanic eruptions, and as a result of that, the soil layer is mainly composed of limestone and contains a large amount of limestone in groundwater, so it cannot be used as drinking water. So most people in Vanuatu continue to use water containing a lot of lime as their drinking water. So from my presentation, I hope that we can find the reason why the clean drinking water and the system is needed. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Angela Shin, and I am New Zealand resident. I am currently working for the NGO Summit 237, and I am New Zealand resident. I am very pleased to be invited to the second Sky Water Seminar once again to speak to you. I am very pleased to be invited to the second Sky Water Seminar once again to speak to you about the experience with the rainwater for drinking system in the South Pacific Island nations. How the rainwater for drinking system. The areas that I'm going to cover today and share with you today are how the rainwater for drinking system began, and what the positive and negative results are,
and actions we have taken in order to solve the problems. And lastly, I will talk about how the rainwater for drinking system benefits locals and people in the South Pacific based on my experience. Before we start, let me give you a brief introduction about the South Pacific Island nations. South Pacific Island nations consist of 25,000 islands, including Australia and New Zealand, located mainly in the South Pacific Ocean, typically divided into three parts: Polynesia, Micronesia, and Melanesia. In the South Pacific, where the sun rises first on Earth, there are many beautiful island countries, but they are not as peaceful as they seem. This is because sea level rise is a big crisis that is directly related to survival for island countries in the South Pacific, which have low altitudes due to rising sea levels caused by global warming. Why is rainwater for drinking system is important in the South Pacific? Most of South Pacific island nations consist of volcanic islands, which has high level of lime in groundwater. Therefore, the groundwater cannot be used as drinking water. Thus, there are many polluted places. I have done volunteer medical missions services for 5 years in the Pacific Islands, and I've seen so many kids and locals drinking polluted water many times. Some areas in the Pacific Islands need better urban plannings, such as improved sewer systems and drinking water facilities, because many people suffer from waterborne diseases due to polluted environment and polluted water, and also lack of understanding of awareness of recognizing how much of an impact drinking polluted water can be on people's health in a negative way. Foreigners living in the capital city of the Pacific Island nations and regions or town can buy or drink clean water. However, other local residents who live in the small towns or remote areas are barely able to drink clean drinking water due to the lack of knowledge of accessibility of clean drinking water. Therefore, I believe that this rainwater for drinking system is essential and very much needed in the South Pacific countries. Okay, so the start of life-giving water. As global warming intensifies, there is also a growing sense of crisis that the survival of South Pacific countries may be at stake. In particular, countries with rising sea levels, frequent cyclones, and volcanic islands are suffering from drinking water problems and difficulty surviving because of their topographical characteristics. In February 2019, Obed Moses Talitz, the president of the Republic of Vanuatu, visited the Seoul National University Rainwater Center in Korea to sign the MOU agreement for Vanuatu water resources and public welfare with Seoul National University and our organization, Summit 237. The President Moses stressed that it is important to provide clean drinking water, and providing clean drinking water is the most urgent and is needed to improve the quality of life for the South Pacific people. And he also said that it's a matter of life and survival. And in the same year, in 2019, SDG 6 conference took place in Vanuatu for solving water problems in the South Pacific regions and countries. So this was how the life-giving water for the South Pacific nations began. Okay, then now let's look at the installation of rainwater for drinking system. After the MOU agreement, the Rainwater Center, the team of the Seoul National University came to Vanuatu and installed the rainwater harvesting facilities in selected areas.
The people in the village and churches helped Professor Han's Rainwater Center team with one joyful heart in anticipation that clean drinking water could be supplied to anyone through the Rainwater for Drinking purification system. When I saw them working in one heart for installation of the Rainwater for Drinking system, I could feel their heart full of hope and dream of a better life. And I thought, it is not only life-giving water, but it is indeed a precious dream-giving water. Rainwater for drinking system were installed in 3 different selected areas in Vanuatu and Solomon Islands, as you can see in the pictures. If you look at the first picture, the rainwater for drinking facility is now at Haeryun National Kindergarten and Elementary School. The second picture shows that the same facility was installed at the seafront park at the harbor side in Port Vila of Vanuatu, a place frequently visited by the local people. The third picture shows us the rainwater facility for drinking system at Rove Health Clinic in Honiara of Solomon Island. Positive outcomes after installation of rainwater for drinking system. As the picture tells us, the rainwater for drinking system at the National Haeryun Kindergarten and Elementary School in Vanuatu and at the Rove Health Clinic in Honiara of the Solomon Islands have become successful examples. The first 2 pictures on the left side, as you can see, show us there have been lots of positive changes to the school, especially both to the children and teachers. The school's rainwater facilities not only allowed many people to drink clean water, but also became an important teacher's tool to teach school children about the importance of drinking clean water. This facility at the school has been successfully maintained and served as a public well for the locals as well. The reason how it's been successfully managed and maintained is because a person who can be in charge of managing and maintaining the rainwater system in that place was appointed and raised by the school so that it may help local residents, parents, and school students to make a good use of it. Now, let's look at the positive changes happening at Rove Health Clinic in Solomon Islands, which shows us in the third picture on the right side. The Rove Health Clinic used to struggle a lot before in the past because of shortage of clean water supply for the patient and for the clinic. But many thanks for the Rainwater Center team. Now we have a wonderful clean water drinking system established at Rove Health Clinic. The patients of the clinic, employees, and local residents in that region now have access to clean drinking water. So they are utilizing it very effectively. A company employee who helped with installation of the rainwater system was appointed and raised as a management supervisor. So he goes there periodically to take care of the rainwater system. So it is still well maintained until now and has been used by lots of locals. So we can see that these 2 places where the rainwater systems were set up are making a good use of the system. Now let's look at the negative side of installation of the rainwater for drinking system. The 2 rainwater facilities and system I mentioned earlier are well maintained. However, the rainwater facility and system that was installed at Harborside Seafront in Port Vila, Vanuatu, had some issues and troubles after the installation. As we can see from the pictures, there are several parts that broke down and need to work on. This problem happened mainly because due to the COVID-19 situation, the council could not find a person who can supervise and manage the property. That is why the repairment has been delayed as well. Now, one of our staff in Vanuatu has been appointed as a manager to secure the problems. The parts needed for repair and the electrical systems were replaced with locally available parts. And as you can see in the pictures, the electrical outlet system was also converted to suit local situation. In addition to it, to prevent future problems and the issues related to the facility and water system, the person who is in charge conducts weekly management supervision now. So he's taking a good care of the system. What we feel and experience while operating and managing our rainwater system in the Pacific Island nations is that, of course, it is important to install the rainwater facility in the South Pacific Island. But what is more important than this is to be able to manage and maintain the system. Also, I think it is very important for local people to work together so they may make their own perceptions and changes in life through health and hygiene education. We hope that more rainwater facility systems will be installed in the South Pacific communities, such as schools, churches, and hospitals, so that no more people get sick and catch waterborne diseases. And I hope to protect precious lives of people and solve health and hygiene related problems caused by polluted water. So our goal for BITS. What is BITS stands for? Do you know what this BITS stands for? It stands for Rain, Teacher, and Students. I heard that abbreviation was created by Professor Han Mu-young because Professor Han wishes this rainwater for drinking facility to become a part of a culture and art of education where teachers, parents, and students work together to know the importance of water within climate change crisis. And I believe this goal has been achieved and fulfilled well, especially at the Heru National School in Vanuatu. The reason why I think this is because when I visited the school, I saw teachers were helping children to recognize the importance of rainwater as well as the seriousness of the water-related problems and diseases if they drink polluted water through different school materials in the class. Also, other schools and locals, they heard the rumors of this rainwater system. So other nearby schools are also requesting the installation of the rainwater for drinking system for their school students. Even as a member of Parliament of Vanuatu government has promised rainwater facilities as a pledge for regional development. Like in this rainwater for drinking system serves as a great platform for Pacific Islanders to access and drink clean water. So I am very glad that this rainwater facility is used as a good educational content and material for the school to remind children of the importance of the rainwater. And this is the last slide of my presentation today. So I would like to close my presentation by saying the following. The 29th World Water Day theme was Valuing Water. And I'm sure everyone has already heard this theme, right? It is said that this theme was chosen in order to effectively protect water for everyone and for the future, and also to properly educate and evaluate the value of water in various ways that help people and nature. So just like the theme of the World Water Day, I pray that more rainwater for drinking facilities and systems will be built in the South Pacific, where there is not enough clean drinking water due to climate change problems, so that the value of this precious water can continue beyond us and continue well into the future. So that's all I have for you today. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
ownership and understanding, the fact that efforts are going on to educate children and parents on the use and usefulness of rainwater are, of course, extremely good. And maybe that will gradually allow for expansion of the system. I would like to ask Dr. Mu-Young Han to continue now, because we're already running a bit late in the program. Mu-Young, are you ready to take on the next? I don't have to introduce you because
Yes.
you have introduced yourself.
Yes.
So please go ahead.
Okay, thank you for the chance. Everybody knows me, so I'm going to go directly into my pre-recorded slide. So while they are on, I will. Okay. In the failure of a whole system, and it does not. Hi, my name is Mu-Young Han, Seoul National University. I'm the chairman of IWA Rainwater Harvesting and Management Specialist Group. I'm very happy to talk my presentation at IWA Workshop on Rainwater for Drinking System. And you can see this picture with a nice looking guy. This is the place at Harbor Park at Republic of Vanuatu. This monument is of the Chugugi, the first rain gauge developed in Korea AD 1441. So I'm going to talk about the convincing rainwater for drinking system by good design and systematic monitoring. First, hi, my name is Mu-Young Han. Rainwater harvesting is gaining much interest to solve the challenges in rainwater harvesting and management, especially at Asia. I'm very happy to talk my presentation at IWA Workshop on rainwater for drinking system. And rainwater harvesting has been used traditionally and many people are using it, but it is not convincing. People do not want to pay money for that. Why? At Republic of Vanuatu, because this monument is the experience of the water shortage during the first rain gauge developed in Korea AD 1441. So I'm going to talk about the convincing rainwater for drinking system by good design and systematic monitoring. First, rainwater harvesting is gaining much interest to solve the challenges in current water supply, especially at Asia and Pacific Islands. But rainwater harvesting has been used traditionally and many people using it, but it is not convincing. People do not want to pay money for that. Why? Because we experience water shortage during dry season, and water quality is not reliable. Poor maintenance, low efficiency, and there is no sense of ownership. So there are many programs of technical, social, and economical. So because of that, the owner, designer, water expert, they do not believe it. And there is not fully supported and welcomed by the international organizations, by donor agencies, and by the government. Now, how to convince rainwater harvesting system? First part is we have to design well. That means each country has their national drinking water standards, such as in Vietnam, they have QCVN code. So the purpose of this rainwater harvesting and for drinking is to produce water that meets the national drinking water standard. We have to include the multiple barrier concept. Even though there is a failure of one part, that should not result in the failure of a whole system, and it does not cost too much to fix it. For example, we can have a first flush tank and several tanks and several treatment systems before drinking. Second thing is nature-based solution. we are not using chemical, we are not using mechanical. For example, by using just a simple J-type inlet, we can avoid resuspension of bottom sediment so that we can make the rainwater tank clear. Also, some organics and pathogens can be removed by biofilm developed at the wall and bottom of the tank. By doing this, we can reduce the risk of the disinfection. Also, we have to have some evaluation index for performance. And we have rainfall data. Based on this rainfall data, we can simulate the water level of the tank. So by doing this, we can know when it is empty, when it is full. Using two index like no water day and RUR, we can evaluate any system. No water day means, and the target should be 0 during dry season. And RUR, which is a number between 0 and 1, that should be higher. We have to design the number as high as possible. And how to convince rainwater harvesting system by monitoring well. For example, water quantity can be monitored very easily. The local people, they can do self-monitoring. First, flow meter. How much water has been used? By using this kind of simple water meter, we can record daily cumulative water usage. And second, water level in the tank. By using this kind of transparent tube, we know the water level, and from this, we know how much water is left. Do we have to become alarmed or not? And water quantity self-monitoring. So there are about more than 100 items, different items, but it's very expensive to monitor, measure everything, and also it costs too much money. So the local people cannot afford it. But we do not need to monitor all 100 items each time. But for weekly monitoring, we can use this simple apparatus, which is about $100. We can measure electric conductivity, pH, TDS, and temperature frequently. By measuring this, we can convince the people or the operator that it is operating very well or not. To design the rainwater harvesting system, we need the exact rainfall data. But in most of the area, they do not have exact rainfall data. So we can use the concept of rainfall gauge in Korean tradition, which was developed in 1441. And based on this, Professor Biedan made this kind of modern rain gauge with acrylic. Number 5. Okay. Do we have a good case study? Yes. We have a very good case study recently in Vietnam, in Rinan Hospital, Hanam, Vietnam, with the collaboration of Seoul National University, WHO, BHEMA, and Professor Biedan since September 2019. So we have 4 tanks. We collect rainwater from the roof using first flush tank, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 tanks, and we use ozone and we send it to the fountains. So that is the case of multiple barrier concept, and we use only sedimentation and biofilm. And one thing is that ozone, we provide some ozone to treat, and also another multiple barrier is that in front of the fountain we have UV lamp. We made this weekly monitoring sheet for rainwater harvesting system at Rinan Healthcare Facility. That is 1-page sheet, and this should be prepared by the operator and approved by the manager. And that shows the schematic diagram of the system and also the monitoring points. So first, water quality is monitored at S4 and S6. S4 means at outlet of the tank number 4. Number 6 means at the outlet of the fountain. EC, pH, TDS, temperature should be measured. And about water quantity, the water meter is read and water level should be read, and we can calculate how much is left last week and this week. And also precipitation, how many days, how many millimeters were fallen at each day. And so the operator can just roughly look around and see the visual inspection. And this sheet is filled by the manager and every week, and the data is collected at the Google spreadsheet. So by doing this, it can automatically generate all the graphs, and anybody from the world can see this. So local hospital manager can see this, and the local government in Vietnam and also in Korea, and you can also check the water status. This is a sample of the result, about 1.5 year monitoring data. At first year, because the system is not stable, there's no data. But after that, we can see the first one is water level in the tank. Second is water usage at each week, and third one is rainfall record. So by doing this, we can see that the average water usage is 1.12 cubic meter per week, and we make a self-alarming system. We can see the water level and make green light, yellow light, red light. If it's green and which is near full, then we can use freely. But if when it's in the middle, we can have some careful observation. But when it is at the bottom, we can have a red alarm, so we have to reduce the water consumption. By doing this, we can reduce water consumption and we can reduce the number of no water day during dry season. And electric conductivity and TDS. So if it jumps up, so that means something is coming in. So, but at first tank, the EC can be higher, but for the second tank, EC can be lower. So that means it proves our multiple barrier concept. Using many tanks, we can reduce the risk of sudden contaminant input. Okay, conclusion. Rainwater harvesting is gaining much interest, but still people are not convinced and suspicious due to lack of scientific and technical data and good case studies. Second, a rainwater harvesting system can be designed better by introducing multiple barrier concept and nature-based solution. Rainwater harvesting system can be operated better by systematic monitoring of water quantity and water quality. A good case study is made by SNU, WHO, and BHEMA. By doing this, we can convince the international organizations like WHO, UNICEF.
My presentation, there's some technical errors, some delay, so this is not recording now. So we will have some second to talk. Sorry, second? Say sorry, second. I'm sorry for that. So this is not online with YouTube. So I've been doing rainwater harvesting using technology and some kind of social aspect. So I was thinking that so each time I learn from you, my Professor Piedan, and also I learn from Batuatu or somewhere else. So
you're welcome to
it is it's 10 seconds from now. So okay, so this is my presentation. Okay, thank you very much. Han, you can.
Okay, thank you, Professor Han. Very nice, and I'm not sure whether I should congratulate you with becoming a retired professor now, a emeritus professor.
Thank you.
I'm sure that you have seen a lot of very interesting activities still in your own future with respect to rainwater harvesting. So I suppose that the emeritus will be there, but it will be a very active emeritus.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, are there any questions coming up? There are, of course, some questions in the chat, which I suggest that Professor Kongkei-Pan, there is a question about how your technology compares with other water filters that are in use in Cambodia, such as biofilter or ceramic filter. Do you want to respond to that?
Yes, Professor. Actually, thank you very much for the question. Actually, there are many simple filters can be applied in Cambodia. For example, like ceramic water filters, and also biosand filters. But when comparing to gravity-driven membrane, I think it's much advantage. For example, like the ceramic water filters, we can use it within 2 years period of time. Then we can again to shield with the silver nitrate to activate the filters. Not only the filter itself, but also the silver nitrate solution that can be used to inactivate the growth of microorganisms in ceramic water filters. And also with the sand filter, of course, after a while, and also the flow rate sometimes be difficult to control, and a lot of biofilm in the top. So we need to take out the biofilm. But comparing to the JDM membrane, we don't use external energy like ceramic water filter and biosand filters, but the maintenance is less and very complex. Biosand filter, you need a full space and very heavy. I also have one before. It's very heavy to carry. But for the GDM membrane, you can just carry with one hand. It's just less than 2 kg. Yeah. But sand filter is very heavy. And also comparing to the effectiveness of removal microbial, membrane can be better comparing to ceramic water filters and the biosand filters. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sure that you will publish on the on your GDM, and then of course you will also be able to compare a bit further the various options that are available within Cambodia, and that will further enlighten users. Okay. I do not see any other questions. There's one question from Ramdeep with respect to the cost of the filter. Do you have a pricing of this filter, Professor?
Actually, yeah. Actually, we try to also to produce this one, because this one is now produced in Korea. We also try to make it in Cambodia. Try to do that to reduce the cost. But currently, the cost is comparatively can be compared with the ceramic water filter. It's around $30 per unit. It's very affordable for the rural community. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That is good. Good information. I think we are through, and I would like to ask Professor Han to give a concluding remark for this session, since we are already 30 minutes over time, I'm afraid.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm sorry that we have some technical problems, but anyway, we can clear this problem file when we upload the YouTube, so it will be cleared. And thank you very much for the 8 speakers, including myself. And I found there is very big interest of rainwater, especially in this Asia and Oceania region, in various aspects of rainwater, such as technical, social, and economical and political. I think this area has very unique characteristic of climate. We have a monsoon climate, so we have flooding and drought each year, and sometimes we have typhoon. So this area really need rainwater harvesting and management. Even though the other countries do not do, we have to do. So we are suffering each other, suffering. So we know the knowledge how to deal with it. So we have to make a network to combine these kind of knowledges. So we have to do it more. And also, the road to each country is closed, not connected, but sky is connected, influencing the weather each other. So that means we are blessed by the same gift from the sky, which is rainwater. So therefore, I believe that we can make a good friend each other. So I hope this kind of workshop should continue. This is first one, but we can continue talking about rainwater harvesting. And thank you very much for the speakers in the Zoom, and thank you very much for the audience who are participating by YouTube. So we will make a clear YouTube files and upload it. And I hope to see you again. Thank you very much. And I'm closing this session. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Professor.
이거 채팅이라는 거 따로 레코딩 할 거죠? 세이브, 예.